Hello, and welcome to Association Transformation. It's an exciting week. I'm excited to have Andrew with us. He's made some time for us, everybody. So let's be appreciative. It's Associations Week in the UK, and I know Consort is a big sponsor. And thankfully, Andrew has carved out a few minutes of his busy week to join us so that we can continue to focus on the impact and evolution of nonprofit organizations. That remains our mission here at Association Transformation, trying to have those conversations that others may not be having or may not be having in the same way, and really focusing on the staff perspective, the member perspective, and the mission perspective.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us today, Mr. Andrew Chamberlain, Consort Strategies Associations Week sponsor.
Extraordinaire. Just throw that one in as well.
Extraordinaire. Yes.
Yeah. No. How are you? How are you this morning?
Well, I'm not sponsoring a big fancy week of virtual events, but
well, we are. We are delighted to. Yeah. Let's just get it. Let's just plug it. Let's just get it. I'm delighted that Consort is one of the partners for Associations Week in the UK. It's been going for 5 years now. Over here, and every year we see some good stuff happening. We see some good program of activities, lots of discussion, lots of debate, lots of celebration. I think it's really important. I think it's really important that we do that, around the world, that we acknowledge the work and the industry and the endeavor, and that we do celebrate our success. Because I think sometimes it's easy to forget. I think it's easy to forget that we're doing, we're working all the time. We're working all the time, it feels. Always doing more with less, always getting, always trying to get, more hours in the day, more days in the week. And, sometimes I think we do forget to just take a break and say, actually, well done us. We've had a bit of a good impact on our members, on our society, our communities, etc. So I think it's really important that we do celebrate. But I also think it's really important that we do acknowledge, or we take time to acknowledge what's the phrase? Burnout?
Burnout, yeah. Well, Brewer Pratt Solutions, I mean, we may not be sponsoring big conferences, but I think we are seeing that same challenge. I just came back from a strategic planning session with a client, and huge board. It took forever to figure out a window of time they could all get together. The volunteer leaders are burned out too. These last 18 to 20 months have meant so much change, disruption, challenge in so many sectors of our life. I'm also working with some staff and doing some staff surveys.
Yeah.
And, it's both sides of this. It's the staff side, it's the volunteer leader side. And, we're all waiting for the world to get, through this. I don't want to say back to normal anymore.
Oh, I think those days are well gone. I don't think there's I think that doesn't exist anymore. We had a conversation this time last year when we were recording our Association Week special, and we were talking about then, going back to normal. And I think we're well past that.
Right. But the new normal now means that we are working from home, working from an office, working from our phone, working from everywhere.
Yeah.
It also means that we are featuring value to our members, to our customers, our nonprofit customers, in every format, on every platform at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Our value proposition is under a 24/7 on demand
scrutiny
screen. And our members' expectations are higher than ever. Our volunteer leaders are burning the candle at both ends along with staff. And as we approach the end of the calendar year, I wonder how are we measuring success anymore? Is it about hours put in? Is it about just the head count of membership? Is it about the revenue? The net revenue, because there has to be a balance to this. We talk about mental health, 2020, the big theme was it's okay to not be okay, and mental health. And I think that's continued into 2021, but do we get that same benefit in the nonprofit sector? Does the association world get to take a deep breath and say, how are we investing in our mental health? I mean, September is at least in the United States is National Suicide Prevention Month. And
Right.
I'm not equating burnout with that extreme, but I think the investment in mental health and the acknowledgement that we are all pushing ourselves at such a pace and in such a way that it's not sustainable.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's not sustainable. And I'm feeling, we were talking off, I was going to say off camera, but off microphone before we started recording, and I'm feeling burned out. I'm feeling, it's not too many steps from thinking, oh, I can't be bothered getting out of bed this morning because I'm just so overwhelmed, arguably, with, these sort of heightened levels of expectation. And I think as you're talking, I'm trying to put my finger on it and say, what is the cultural piece within our sector, within the non-profit membership world? Why is it that we are feeling this heightened sense of what's the word? I can't even say tension. It's an obligation to perform. Why do we constantly feel all the time that we've got to put something out the door, got to put either something new, or we have to demonstrate value? Is it because we're afraid that we're nice to haves rather than need to haves?
Ouch. Yes, I think that, and the servant leadership culture. It's our job to figure out how to say yes. To our members, to our board, to every constituency, every niche stakeholder group, whether it's a special interest group, a task force, a committee, a membership type. We're trying to be so many things to so many types of stakeholders. And, maybe we're not special. Maybe this is what the tech world deals with. Maybe this is what salespeople in other sectors deal with all the time, trying to serve clients who have a changing and evolving set of needs and increasing expectations. Are we special? I think this is maybe something that an entrepreneurial pressure. We have to deliver. Yeah, because I guess we are looking at it with from two different perspectives. We both work as specialist consultants, entrepreneurial, as you say. We're out there, every week it's like a job interview, trying to get new work, building up new ideas, trying to get in the door with people to have conversations and demonstrate value. So we see it from that private sector commercial perspective. I think we're also fortunate that we both work for and in support of the Institute of Association Leadership, and so we also see it from that staff perspective, if you like. We also are supporting members directly, as well as supporting our clients. And I guess we are seeing it from both perspectives. I'd never really thought about whether it was not unique to the non-profit sector, because actually I think what you've said there, the 24/7 scrutiny, the expectation. I feel almost like membership bodies in the last, we've celebrated membership bodies in the last 18 to 20 months and said, wow, you've, I'm going to swear on the radio, pivoted, you've how dare you?
I know, sorry, but you've taken steps, you've demonstrated flexibility, adaptability, bravery, courage, you've been strategic, you've not just survived, you've thrived. But now I'm thinking, and are we victims, some of us, of our own success?
Right. What was the cost? What was the human cost? What was the energy cost, the staff cost?
Because we've elevated members' expectations now to a point where I question whether it's realistic as we go into 2022. We can't sustain this level of energy, and output, because it's unsustainable. It's exhausting. As you say, we're not even.
Did I say that already?
You did. I'm just saying it. Repetition is emphasis. Did you not learn that in school?
Oh, thank you. But I think you mentioned the conversation a year ago, and we were asking the question: is membership dead? And now that we have truly embraced all the membership alternatives, subscription, a la carte, freemium, this and that, we've taken every ball we can and run it as far down the field as possible these last 18 months out of trying to survive.
Yeah.
But all of those mechanisms, and we're experiencing this with the IAL, require you to demonstrate your value proposition more frequently to more different audiences. I think of the subscription model. All right, that means we have to sell ourselves and prove to the membership that their dues give them something in return every month.
Single month. Yeah.
Every month.
Yeah, we have to add something to the channel. Yeah.
Not that an association shouldn't be ready to do that at all times, but it makes everything feel so transactional.
Yes, because actually, yes. And that's really interesting. Yeah. Because we've been working from an IAL perspective, we've been working on putting together the Learning Labs exec education program. And, part of that is, right, we've got to cost it, we've got to work out, so we're sitting there doing a full economic costing. We're not just sticking our fingers in the air and saying, well, that kind of works. We've done market analysis, and you're working out budgets and income and expenditure and ratios. And actually, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, how do we justify the membership fee? Well, it's got to be, and I am guilty of sitting there thinking, well, we've got to do, more. We've got to put more out the door, more out the door, more out the door. But actually, it should just be the community, the network. The very essence of the membership environment is that we are part of a like-minded community who are, we belong. And that, I think, we, not in an IAL context, I think generally, we too often forget the fundamental non-transactional benefit of being part of a community, and that I pay my membership dues so that I can be part of it, and so that goes towards supporting it. It's not just about me getting something in return. It's about me saying, well, look, I want to have this when I need it. So here's my $15 a month or whatever, or my £100 a year. And I'm happy to pay it because I know that community exists. And I think that's something that I've been guilty of losing sight of recently. And I think it's really important, when we're talking about this kind of 24/7, this culture of heightened expectation of, talking up constantly and promoting the value proposition, and always talking in, big picture stuff and big value. And as you say, Netflix model, here's your, for $15 this month, you're getting extra X, Y, and Z. Actually, we should just be saying, well, we want you to pay your $15 because sometimes you're going to need us. Not all the time you're going to need us, but fundamentally, this professional community exists as a peer support network that you're part of. And I think that's a message that we is the royal we, it's not us, but, I think sometimes in the industry, we're not quite as strong at conveying that message.
Well, the lean facilitator in me cringes at the idea of just piling more on value through quantity.
Yeah.
That gives me, I break out in hives, because there are so many organizations that have really just wanted to elongate the menu, add stuff in, figure out ways to represent everything that we're doing, put it on the list. But, it ends up, I think we all know, having the opposite effect. You start to dilute the impact of your true pillars of value. You start to exhaust your audience, who become unwilling to wade through all the mess to get to the good stuff. And when we come to defining value for intangibles, that's where we really, as maybe an industry, maybe as association professionals, have to always work to be as specific as possible through the end result, through the human narrative of impact. And, when we're talking about the human piece in these online communities or these communities of practice, these groups of experts that you now pay to tap into or pay to be a part of, That human element, I think that will become more popular as technology drives everything else. I think the human will become more and more valuable, but it's not just valuable because it's there. It's not just valuable because it exists. The people within it, the staff that nurture it, there's still an exercise in stoking that fire. It won't just, it'll just smolder on its own.
Oh yeah.
And that
absolutely.
in itself isn't valuable.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think equally it is a value simply because it's there as well.
So now you're talking about insurance. You're treating it as a safety net. You're treating it as professional insurance.
Well, when we're talking about burnout, we started, yeah, I am, because I think, it's too easy to, when we're on the cusp of burnout and anxiety and stress and, did I say, depression? Yeah, it can be easy to think that you're in it on your own and that you are suffering or struggling on your own. And so actually, I think being part of that, just remembering that you are part of, formally part of, a peer support network when it comes to individual stress and burnout and maintaining one's mental and emotional well-being as well as the physical aspects of it. I think it is an important insurance policy actually to be part of that network. I think that is crucial.
I think then our call to all, I think now 17 of our listeners is to use
16. We might have lost 16. One. I think
your uncle's mad at you. He canceled.
That's right. Yeah. My mom. That's right. My mom's not interested anymore.
Oh, we lost your mom? I'm devastated. Oh my God, that's a terrible sign. But I think our call to not only ourselves, but to those association professionals who contribute to these type of communities, whether it's things like Associations Week or the IAL or a group that you're a part of or a webinar that you're on, I think the call to everyone then is to demonstrate vulnerability. If everyone's acting like you're doing fine, you're working hard, everything's great, if we're keeping this facade going, then no one will benefit from seeing that they're not in this alone.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think my final kind of thoughts on it are that what we saw at the beginning of the pandemic, we saw great ingenuity, we saw great community sort of drive, and we saw flexibility, adaptability, going back to something we spoke about way back, whenever it was 15 months ago. We saw people rationalizing and prioritizing and saying, actually, right now in this moment of crisis, we're going to do what is the best for our members. If it's just this one thing, that's what we're doing. And then we've ridden the crest of that wave, and we've quietly, I think, gone back into old habits.
Yeah. And I'm worried about 2022. I feel like that.
Exactly.
I'm very worried.
And so we have to say, well, no, that principle of rationalizing and prioritizing isn't just for those moments of crisis, it's for always. Because that's how you are. That's how you demonstrate your member value. That's how your value proposition is understood and recognized as distinct and valuable. It's because you're not trying to be everything to everybody all the time. You're trying to be the one thing you can be. And I think that approach and recognizing that and taking those moments to take stock and say, actually, we are going to ditch those hobby projects, those sacred cows that we love, but actually generate us no value whatsoever. And I think that approach will undoubtedly not only benefit the association in financial terms, in community terms, in the value proposition terms. I think for us as association professionals, I think it would alleviate some of the unnecessary and unrealistic and unsustainable pressure that we are feeling because we're falling back into those old habits of we must do more and more and more and more.
Right. Right. And, I think the hybrid push for events, we need to be in person, we need to be virtual at the same time, we need to record it, we need to live stream it. I mean, that is the perfect example of how what started out as a necessity and forced the hand of innovation last year has now become an albatross around all of our necks, trying to be everything to everyone at the same time on every platform, using every technology. And, we talked about what we were recording a year ago, and our very first episode a little over a year ago was about purposeful abandonment.
Yeah.
And how to say no when no needs to be said through data, through needs, but also for the simple focusing and consolidation for impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And these are all easy things to say, right? We burnout is real. And I think staff, have gotten more, let's admit it, whether furloughs, whether financial restrictions, organizations have gotten, I think staff sizes have probably gotten smaller in most of the organizations that I work with, either through retirements, through, just getting lean to get through COVID, whatever it may be. These are smaller staffs doing more in more ways.
And we got to
desperate to hold on to members.
We've got to stop that trend from being, the accepted norm. Yeah. That do more with less is a frightening prospect. I used to work in government, and it was terrifying. You'd hear ministers talking about, do more with less, and that was their mantra all the time. And it doesn't in the long term do anything.
It'll bite you. It'll bite you.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I have a couple organizations who've come out of this, and they say we're not ready to strategic plan because we don't have the people back. We need to figure out how to rehire for our future needs. Okay. We don't want to just plug people back into the same old roles that we had before. The job descriptions pre-COVID aren't relevant. And in most cases, they were 10 years old anyway. But, I love that organizations are willing to hit the pause button instead of just saying yes to everything. And yes, we'll do that. Yes, we'll develop that. Yes, we'll roll that out. They're taking a pause to assess their organizational effectiveness for the future. And those are the organizations that give me hope for 2022. But, as we come to the end of the year, God, it's already the middle of September. Last year was painfully slow. This year has flown by, and we're all under these pressures and this stress, and as are the members.
It's flown by for you because you've been setting yourself in Florida, having coffee in Seattle.
Oh, okay,
are we going to do California?
Is this how we're going to end?
Whereas some of us have just been sat at our desks. That's it. That's all we've been, so it's been a bit slower for some of us.
All right. So this is how we're going to end. You, Mr. Literally just stepped off a cruise yesterday, are going to throw stones at me for having taken a summer working sabbatical. How dare you? And I will say, you've just stepped off a cruise literally less than 24 hours ago, and it was your second cruise of the month.
And I'm still burned out. Go figure that, eh? What does that tell you? I'm still exhausted.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. No. Brewer Pratt Solutions did invest in some personal development, what I said was a working sabbatical. I needed to step away. I needed to say no. I needed to be okay with saying no to some things for the benefit of myself, my family, my clients, my partners. Yeah. And I'm not ashamed of it. And I would do it again. I want to do it again. But I think that's the boundaries we all need to return to, is the out of office reply shouldn't cause someone to gasp. It should cause you to cheer for that person. Yeah. I'm not jealous of your cruises, but I will not be demonized for taking my own break. And we all need a break.
Demonizing you. I wasn't demonizing you at all. I was being jealous. I was envying the fact that you were getting to travel and that things were, you were getting on airplanes. I was being envious. All I managed to do was get on
for a long time.
Luxury ocean liners. That's all I've been able to do.
Jesus. All right, let's wrap this up. I can't feel sorry for you when you talk about your luxury ocean liners, but enjoy Associations Week, and congratulations to Consort for being involved in that. Brewer Pratt Solutions will just keep chugging on, striving for our client success while you guys enjoy your celebrations and your week of sessions. So
Thank you.
We are glad you were able to make some time for us this morning. So
I wish I could say the same, but
stop. God. All right. You are burned out. And I can't take it anymore. So with that, we will thank everyone for joining us. And whether you're burned out, whether you have a new topic you want to chat about, or you just want to let us know how things are going for you and your organization, we encourage you to tweet us at Association Transformation, or email us hello@yourconsort.com, and we'll bring you new and even better conversations specific to the association opportunity, the association evolution, the association specialty that we are all so proud to be a part of. You can find Association Transformation wherever you get your podcasts. Make us one of your favorites. And until next time, stay well and put your members and your mission first.